Welcome to Face the Nation. I'm Leslie Stahl. New developments in Lebanon. One of the terrorist groups has released a videotape of hostage Alan Steen, who says he and 3 other American hostages will be executed tomorrow unless Israel releases 400 Palestinian prisoners. And another terrorist group issued a statement charging that the U.S. is about to launch a military attack codenamed Operation Raven, with plans to kidnap terrorist leaders in Lebanon and swap them for the American hostages. The message claims Anglican envoy Terry Waite was wearing a wireless detector fitted to his body in order to pinpoint targets for that American attack. During the week, the Reagan administration sent a flotilla of warships into the region in response to the kidnappings. But that produced threats that the hostages would be executed. Pictures of the captured Americans were released to underscore the point.
What will happen to the hostages if they do a military action?
I think it is the quickly way to kill everyone.
By the end of the week, the buildup was scaled back.
They're not there as a threat to anyone. Certainly not as a threat to anyone who is acting in the civilized way.
Meanwhile, conflicting rumors persist about Anglican envoy Terry Waite.
By it becoming known that arms have been delivered or money has been paid in the past, this can only encourage hostage-taking.
Self-fulfilling prophecy for Waite, missing now for more than 2 weeks. One report said he'd been shot. A later story had him walking in the Beirut suburbs, smiling and waving. U.S. officials believe the regime of Ayatollah Khomeini is behind the recent kidnappings.
They are, to a substantial degree, linked together. And we also observe some very strong ties to Iran.
What can the U.S. do? We'll ask Shiite Amal leader Nabih Berri, Israel's ambassador to the UN, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Iran's UN ambassador, Rajaie Khorassani. And we'll hear from Virginia Steen, wife of American hostage Alan Steen. Terrorists target American citizens, an issue facing the nation.
From CBS News, Washington, Face the Nation, with National Affairs correspondent Leslie Stahl. Face the Nation is sponsored by General Motors, the GM Odyssey, science, not fiction, leading the way to the 21st century.
Is imagination the seed of technology, the inspiration for creating the future? At General Motors, they believe it is. And it's this future they're looking to for today's ideas. In this film, we'll be taking a closer look at the dreamers, thinkers, inventors of GM, working together to develop the revolutionary technology we'll need to take us from today into the 21st century. It's far-reaching, it's fantastic. But is it science, or is it fiction? Cut! All right, you set up the close-up of the door and... Yes?
I'm Russell.
Russell, you're taking me to the ABC room.
Yeah, it's over this way. Oh, listen, what do you think of my tie?
I hate it.
Huh?
Come on, I was only kidding. I'm just going to ask you some questions. So, how long have you been with GM?
We were expecting to have an interview this morning with the Lebanese Amal leader, Nabih Berri. He is in Damascus. At the last minute, he pulled out of this interview. We are going to our correspondent in Damascus right now, Mark Phillips, and ask him, Mark, what happened? Why did he pull out?
I think essentially he thought better of it, largely because I don't think he had much new to contribute to the entire hostage situation, whether it regards the American lecturers or the Anglican Church envoy Terry Waite. I also think that perhaps having made his offer yesterday of this deal that he has proposed, where he will swap an Israeli pilot that he is holding if Arab prisoners, about 400 of them, are released from Israeli jails, this would satisfy the demands of the group holding these American and one Indian lecturer from Beirut University College. The pilot goes to the Israelis, the 400 prisoners go out, and the 4 hostages being held in Beirut are released. At least that's the nature of the deal. not having heard anything back from any of the parties concerned, I think Nabih Berri has just thought better of talking any more about it in public at this stage.
Okay, Mark, there is a report on Christian radio that Terry Waite has been released at the Syrian border. You're in Damascus. Have you heard anything at all about that?
None of these rumors thus far have turned out to be true. I really think we're in a situation where we're going to have to wait to see Terry Waite, if in fact he turns up somewhere, before we believe anything.
Okay, Mark, Nabih Berri did give a little sidewalk news conference this morning in Damascus. Let's look at what he said there and then come back and you and I will talk some more. Here is Nabih Berri talking to reporters in Damascus.
Berri, what's the latest you hear about Terry Waite? You know the report yesterday that Terry Waite was released. What do you hear about
I have to repeat what I said yesterday, that my information, they will release Mr. Waite soon. I don't say in 24 hours or 48 hours. I said by days, by weeks, not by months. That's all.
There has been no Israeli response to your statement as yet.
It is. I read in Lebanese newspaper a response from the Israelis. They said they don't say no and they don't say yes. It was in between. I read it today in the Anwar.
What do you think will happen if they do say no?
Well, if they do so, if they said no, it is not my business. I try to save people. I try to save innocents. I put my project in front of you, and I wish that the Jihad Islamic for Palestine liberation, they will accept it and they will reach those people, and I keep my promise.
Mr. Berri, there is a videotape now that's just come out of Beirut today with Dr. Alan Steen from the Islamic Jihad for the Liberation of Palestine. Yeah. He says he believes they will be killed if the Israelis do not agree to the release. Mr. Steen says this on videotape. Do you think they will be killed?
Who, Mr.
Steen and the ones kidnapped from Beirut University College.
I repeat same thing like yesterday. I don't know those people. This is the first time I hear by this name like you exactly. But I hope they will not do it. If they are Islamic exactly, they will not do it.
Mr. Berri, one of the reactions from Israel was that they did not want to negotiate publicly through the media. Have you had any other type of negotiation with them?
When they release the people, we will charge that for the Red Cross if they want.
Have you had any other negotiations, or are you available to have any private negotiations with respect to either the lecturers or Terry Waite?
What do you mean by that?
Negotiations with the Israelis or with parties representing? Have you had any communication other than the news conference yesterday?
No.
That was Nabih Berri in Damascus. Mark Phillips, there is another story this morning from the people who are holding Terry Waite, that he was walking around with a radio transmitter. And they charged that what he was doing was basically pinpointing military targets for the United States to bomb and attack. Have you picked up any stories like that? What are they saying in Damascus?
One of the stories coming out from the various Lebanese militias, and I must say at this stage we really don't know and haven't been told exactly who is holding Terry Waite, although we have our suspicions, is that they were angry at him for several reasons. One of which being that they felt he had made promises on an earlier negotiating trip resulting in the release of other hostages, promises regarding Palestinian prisoners being held in Kuwait, promises that haven't been fulfilled, that they were angry for him about that, and that they held him as a result of that. We have also heard that they have charged him with being a spy for the Americans. This electronic device business that we're now hearing, I think, is a further one of those types of rumors, and there's just no way of verifying it now. What we do know is that they clearly appear to be very angry with him. They may still be holding him. The stories that we are hearing now that he may be released have yet to be proven true. As I said earlier, I really think with all of the rumors flying around, we're very much in a situation of waiting until we hear something or see him definitely before we reach any conclusions.
Mark, U.S. military moves, maneuvers. First we sent the fleet, then we sort of backed off. But there are concerns and fears in Lebanon that we are still planning some kind of a military attack. What can you tell us about that?
It's been taken very seriously in Lebanon and especially here in Syria as well. The local press, which is a government-controlled press, is just full of commentary saying that this entire hostage situation is being used as a pretext by the United States to launch another attack and assert more of its aggressive, as they say, intentions in the Middle East. Nabih Berri himself and just about everybody else who's been mitigating to try to get the hostages released has been saying that the use of force at this time would be a sure way to have them all killed. Even though the fleet itself has been reduced in size, even though the carrier JFK is now apparently at port in Haifa, the fact that there still are 15 or so U.S. ships off the coast of Lebanon is certainly holding a sword over this whole situation, a sword it doesn't need given the deadline to start killing the captured professors is tomorrow unless these prisoners, these Arab prisoners in Israel, are released.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much for being with us and for filling in for Nabih Berri. We will be back with more after this.
We've always been concerned about safety here at GM.
What are you doing about designing safer cars now?
Well, there's collision avoidance. It's a radar warning system that might be possible down the road.
Oh my gosh!
What's he doing now?
I don't know.
GM is also working on something called night vision.
How does it work?
By infrared.
He's all right.
The GM Odyssey, science, not fiction.
Are you doing anything new in robotics here at GM?
Well, let's see. There's machine vision that lets GM robots inspect parts and keep a lookout for any production snags.
You mean these things can see?
Oh, in the future, they'll be able to spot just about anything. In the future, they'll be able to spot just about anything.
The GM Odyssey, science, not fiction.
Joining us now from London, Rajaie Khorassani, Iranian ambassador to the United Nations, and in New York, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli ambassador to the United Nations. Let's go first to New York and Ambassador Netanyahu. As you know, there is a videotape. One of our American hostages says that he and 3 other hostages will be executed unless Israel releases 400 Palestinian prisoners. Will Israel release the prisoners?
The Prime Minister, the Defense Minister said the other day that we would not surrender to these terrorist demands. This was reaffirmed today, as I understand it, from the wire services by our Foreign Minister. So I'm not aware of any change in our policy, Leslie.
Well, you know that the Lebanese leader, Nabih Berri, says he is holding an Israeli pilot and would be willing to exchange him as well. Does that change the equation? Because your country has swapped thousands of prisoners for a few number of Israelis in the past.
Well, the number is actually smaller, but that exchange involved, you're right, it involved POWs. POWs, unlike hostages, as you know, are in limited supply. The supply of hostages is infinite. And here you're dealing with a demand that is essentially about hostages. If you capitulate on this, they'll replenish the supply of hostages. And I think this is something that they understand will hurt all of us, will hurt the United States and Israel. And in fact, what you have here is an attempt by not these terrorists merely, but the governments that control them, principally Iran and Syria, to weaken the entire Western position in the Middle East. So it's not just a few individuals, however regrettable and tragic that they're holding hostage. They're trying to hold the entire Western policy in the Middle East hostage.
Well, let's go to London and the Iranian ambassador, Khorassani. Mr. Netanyahu and our own Secretary of State, George Shultz, has said that Iran is in fact behind all these latest hostage takings. What is your government doing, if anything at all, to help get these hostages released? Or are you in fact responsible for having them taken in the first place?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Well, the allegation that my government is behind that incident, sad incident in Lebanon, is a baseless allegation, and we believe that it has no truth in it.
Well, what are you doing to help end the crisis, if you will, if anything?
We are not doing anything to abandon anything. There are so many countries, 195, 59 countries in the United Nations, and others are not doing, except a couple of countries which are involved. For instance, your country is involved because you have hostages there, and other countries are involved somehow because they have POWs, but the rest of the world are not involved because they have no responsibility.
Well,
why should we be involved at all?
As we all know, your government and the United States government has had many contacts over the last year involving arms shipments and other kinds of talks. What, if any, talks, negotiations are underway now? And are our two governments in contact over the hostage crisis at the moment?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, the contacts that existed in the past few days or few months or few years were not at governmental level. And the exchange of arms was a deal between the arm dealers in the black market. I am not aware of any contemporary negotiations or talks between the governments of the Islamic Republic of Iran and on the one hand and the government of the United States on the other.
All right, let's go to New York and Ambassador Netanyahu. You hear your counterpart in the United Nations denying that Iran's involved at all. You say they are. What is the evidence?
Well, there's a lot of evidence. The first evidence came out of the Iran affair, undeniably. If anything came out of that, it's that Iran controls the spigot. They can turn on and off the supply of hostages. They released one at their will because it was they decided it was in their interest to do so. They're playing a hostage yo-yo game with the West, with America and with other nationals. Kidnap and release, release and kidnap, all to affect the policy according to their precepts. But there are other pieces of evidence. The Iranian ambassador in Lebanon, the Iranian ambassador in Beirut are working together as high commissioners for terrorism. They have been seen handing out money to terrorists to conduct terrorist attacks, kidnappings, and the like. And beyond that, it's interesting to see what the kidnappers, what the terrorists themselves are saying. They're saying, we will kill the hostages unless Western supplies of arms to Iraq cease. That's an Iranian statement, if I ever heard one.
Mr. Khorassani, what about that statement? And what about your the Speaker of your Parliament expressing sympathy for the hostage takers?
I think there are a couple of points which are completely confused here. One is that it seems to be very easy for certain people to produce baseless allegations for evidence. I think there must be a distinction between what is called evidence and what is called the actual claims and allegations. What we heard right now are only the claims. They are the claims regarding the situation and not the evidence.
Well, what do you have to say about the... Go ahead. I would like to know what you have to say about the hostage takers. Well, what is your view? Do you agree with Mr. Rafsanjani that they are...
I think what Mr. Rafsanjani has said is a very, very important point which is always probably deliberately misunderstood. He simply said that the Lebanese people do not have any other means of defending themselves. Now, taking into account the very, very sad, painful, and sanguine experiences that the Lebanese people have undergone during the past 5-6 years, the occupation of the country by the Zionist forces, the killing of thousands and thousands of innocent women and children and people in Sabra and Shatila, the bombardment of villages like Bahamdoun, the helicopter gunships and the New Jersey gunship and the rest of it. All these painful experiences have led to a very drastic and complicated geopolitical and military sophisticated situation in Lebanon. Now, these people who are trying to cry, and they do their best to make sure that their cry out will reach the rest of the world, have no other means of defending themselves. They don't have an army. They do not have, let's say,
what do you think about hostage taking? Do you think this is legitimate? You seem to be somewhat sympathetic here.
No, it is entirely a different issue to treat this issue from the moral point of view, to approach the issue from the therapeutic point of view, or to approach the issue as a desperate situation in which the life of the hostages is at stake.
Let's go to New York for 1 second. I want to ask Ambassador Netanyahu, there are these charges and claims.
My point.
1 sec, please. There are these charges and claims that the United States is planning a military attack of some kind. Of course, they are unsubstantiated. In Washington, the officials are saying no comment, actually. But is this wise? Can we pinpoint targets? Is this a good idea, or what's your reaction?
I think you cannot rule out categorically the use or the credible threat of the use of force, because you're dealing here with gangster regimes, with gangsters who work for them. This is organized crime, and unless you have the capacity to not only deliver a credible threat to the hitmen, but also to apply some pressures. They might not only be military pressures, they could be trade sanctions and political sanctions of various kinds against the home offices. Against the home offices, yes, of Tehran and Damascus. These two regimes have been sponsoring terrorism. This was exposed in the Hindawi trials in London. It's been exposed in many times since the great taking of your embassies hostage in Tehran. They're terrorist regimes par excellence. And to rule out certain measures and firm measures would mean that they could continue this game indefinitely. But I would say one thing. We've just heard, I think, a classical attempt to justify hostage-taking by the ambassador of Iran. In fact, what he said was, this is a new one, I've not heard this before, hostage-taking is therapy. And in fact, to hear that coming from a regime that sent 1,000 revolutionary guards to Lebanon, that is attempting to turn Lebanon against the wishes of the Lebanese into an Islamic republic under Tehran, to have them talk about Lebanon's sovereignty, Lebanon's wishes, is preposterous.
All right,
there are terror regimes, and they're using Lebanon as a front to attack the West.
Mr. Khorassani, let me tell you, we're fast running out of time, so this is the final word. How seriously do you consider the threat that these groups will start executing American hostages?
I don't know. I don't know how serious the threat is, but I know that the safest way is to pressurize upon the Zionists who are holding the Palestinians. If they release them,
they've said no.
Well, it is. I mean, to the extent that you can exert pressures on them, because the main problems that you have in the Middle East come from the occupation of Palestine primarily, and ultimately from the support that you have been extending to the occupation.
Gentlemen.
If you want to pressurize that regime, then most of your problems, almost all of your problems, can be solved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khorassani. Ambassador Netanyahu. We will be back with the wife of one of the hostages when we return.
I could never leave my husband here in Lebanon. I'm not going anywhere.
The 21st century is just around the corner.
What does that mean?
Well, by looking ahead, we can develop technology for today.
Let's rewind to the top. There.
The 21st century is just around the corner.
What does that mean?
Well, by looking ahead, we can develop technology for today.
So?
So when the future comes, we'll be ready.
I think we've got it. Good night.
Good night. So when the future comes, we'll be ready.
A group calling itself the Islamic Jihad for the Liberation of Palestine released a 6-minute videotape of hostage Alan Steen, one of the 3 American professors kidnapped January 24th from the Beirut University College. In the videotape, Steen strongly urges the Reagan administration to order Israel to release the 400 Palestinian prisoners as soon as possible.
February 9th is the last day to release them. If they don't get released, our fate will be execution. And the Islamic Jihad, the liberation of Palestine, is serious about the time it's set.
We reached Mrs. Alan Steen, still in Beirut, by phone this morning and asked her about the execution threat.
We have only heard, of course, what you are hearing and what is being released to the public on the matter, so I have nothing new to add to that. In fact, I think, again, you're still probably getting things a bit ahead of us. So, no, we haven't heard anything else except that what has been printed in the press and in the journal, and on the air. Nothing new.
The American authorities are not in touch with you?
The director of relations here at the college has been handling the press and contacts with the outside people, and I'm sure they've been in contact with the embassy here and such.
I know this has been a question you've been asked, but explain it to us one more time, if you will. Why, with all that has gone on, with all the hostage taking, why did you stay in Beirut this long? Why didn't you just leave with this threat against Americans being so obvious?
Well, as I've told other people, Alan and I think most of us arrived here in 1983, and the educational system here in Lebanon is, of course, one of the best in the world. We fell in love with our jobs then. I met my husband here. I fell in love with him here. The education and the knowledge they could spread was so important to them at this time. These men believed, that what they could spread could continue. The good things they could spread could, spread further.
But I understand that. But now I'm asking that you took this risk that you understood because of these ideals. But I'm wondering what you think the responsibility of the United States government is right now.
Really, since I myself as a teacher here, and as like our husbands, have no political, there's no political matter here to be discussed. I can't even answer this question. I mean, to me, my focus has been for the last 15 days on my husband, their welfare, their safety, their speedy return. I can't even concern myself with, I can't even focus on anything else at this time.
But you know that U.S. officials, when your husband was taken, were suggesting that, that he shouldn't have been there. It was a risk he took. What did you feel when you heard those statements?
I have no comment on it.
Okay. I assume if he's released that you would come home. Is that safe to assume?
I don't know what I do right at the immediate moment. I'm just hoping to see his face very, very soon.
Virginia Steen in Beirut. That's our broadcast. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lesley Stahl. Have a good week.
This portion of Face the Nation was sponsored by the men and women of the General Motors Corporation, GM, mark of excellence. Face the Nation with National Affairs correspondent Lesley Stahl was produced by CBS News, which is solely responsible for the selection of today's guests and topic. This broadcast originated in Washington, D.C.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate playground contest, the NBA All-Star Game, today on CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
This time of year, it's hard for kids to avoid all the bugs going around. But one thing I can keep germ-free is Julie's Big Sur waterbed. The hygienic vinyl surface doesn't harbor germs the way a conventional mattress can, and I like that.
Right now at Big Sur, the Sedona with dual glass display cabinets is only $175.99. Or the Hialeah in a contemporary almond finish is $299.99. Big Sur Waterbeds, America's largest. 3715 Merle Hay Road at Douglas in Des Moines.
This week on Time Capsule.
In the 1920s, a Des Moines man's dream was turned into reality and called Salisbury House. I'm Todd Magel. Join me for a fascinating look at one of the city's most prized landmarks.
He would rather have played for the New York Yankees, but he became America's most popular playwright. I'm Mary Brubaker with a close-up look at writer Neil Simon.
Join host Dave Buzik for Time Capsule, Sunday at 5:30 on TV8.
You take care of everyone else's needs. Don't forget to take care of your high blood pressure.
Treat your high blood pressure. Treat yourself right.
Be a part of it all.